Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 837A, and today's date is December 8th, 2015, and the title of the episode is The Central Bankers Are Almost Ready to Collapse the Economy. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we see, the market is having a very rough time. The U.S. government central bankers, they're working as hard as they possibly can to continually pump this market up. The high-frequency traders, the plunge protection team, they're working overtime. I'm sure they're getting paid for it too. But they're trying to keep this market afloat, and every time the market drops, they continually come in and they use the free money to purchase stocks to pump this up as best they possibly can. And it's getting tougher and tougher as time goes on. Because what's happening right now is they're running out of time. And the real economic indicators, as we've been reporting on, they're accelerating at this point. Things are getting worse, not better. And if we use common sense, we can realize that, the economy is not doing what the U.S. government, the central bankers, are telling us. It's doing the opposite. Now, when you really think about this, you say to yourself, okay, we're getting very close to full employment. If we look in the past, when we were very close to full employment, we noticed that the economy did much, much better. We noticed that retail expanded. We noticed that housing improved. We noticed the Baltic Dry Index continually increased because there was more demand. They didn't have to manipulate the GDP numbers, the unemployment numbers, the inflation numbers. They didn't have to change the calculations by adding in Obamacare, research and development into the GDP. We didn't see 1 million manufacturing jobs leave the United States being replaced by 1 million or so part-time bartenders and waiters and other part-time jobs. They never talked about negative interest rates or a cashless society. You know why? Because they didn't need to. Because the economy was working as best it possibly could under the control of the central bank. But as we know, the economies under a central bank using a fiat system only last 40 to 45 years. And we're at the end stage of this. In the beginning stages, things work out well. The middle stage, not bad. They start to get a little bit worse and worse. But as you can see, as we are approaching the end cycle of this, you can see exactly what they're pushing and what agendas they're pushing. If you look at this, when did you ever see interest rates at zero or even talked about going negative? Never. And this is spreading. It's in Europe right now. They already put out trial balloons in the United States with the Fed mentioning it, because we're heading in that direction. We already see Canada right now, the Bank of Canada. Chief finally said that, they're looking into negative interest rates. Canada's economy is still going to be in a recession in 2016. 0% interest rates will be in 2016, and later in 2016, they are looking at negative interest rates. I think it's going to be much, much sooner than that, because the economy, the way it's going right now, is completely falling apart. And you're going to see more and more currency printing as we go through 2016, because this collapse has been upon us. It's been here. And the only thing that's keeping this illusion alive is the stock market and the manipulated numbers. And as we look at what's going on in the real economy, we see that that's what all those numbers are that the government and the central bank are putting out. Fake, illusionary numbers. Because when we look at the real information, we see everything is not doing well. Look at the UK. Now, of course, they use the word unexpected. This is a surprise to us. I can't believe this is happening. How can it be? Everything is fine. The economy's recovering. But British retail sales, they grew at the weakest pace for any November since 2011. Hopes of a surge from the Black Friday fell completely flat. Wow, how can this be? Who would have thought that this would have happened with the unemployment so low that everything is recovering? Well, we all knew this was going to happen if you looked at reality. If you looked at the illusionary government numbers in the UK, throughout Europe, in the United States, Canada, yeah, this comes as a surprise. But if you look at what's been really reported and what's really going on, this is really not a shock to anyone. Here in the United States, we are seeing continual layoffs. Anglo American, 85,000 jobs over the next few years. 85,000. National Oil Well, 900. AOL, 100. Morgan Stanley just announced during this beautiful holiday season, 1,200 people. 25% of Morgan Stanley's fixed income trading staff gone. And you know, none of these other companies are hiring. So they're going to be completely out of luck right now. But don't worry, the initial jobless claims will go down because those numbers are manipulated. So when we look at the holiday sales, because, when things are doing well, the government loves to report on them through the corporate media, telling you how great the holiday sales were. If you notice, it's been very, very quiet. They haven't reported and let you know how great Black Friday and Cyber Monday were. Well, based on credit card data, the holiday spending period is a complete and utter disaster. Black Friday and Cyber Monday basically are a complete flop. Chain store, same store sales crashed by 6.3% week over week. Well, what happened here? Let's go back in time a little bit, use some common sense. If we believe the government and their ridiculous, stupid numbers, they continually tell us that unemployment's at 5%. Everyone's employed. Oh, except for the 100 million that don't want jobs anymore. You're scratching your head going, why didn't retail sales do better? I mean, people should have money. They should be out shopping. Everyone should be happy. The economy is almost in full recovery. The Fed is talking about raising the interest rates because the Obama administration was able to recover the economy since 2008. But the reality is, it's fake. The entire thing is completely fake. And we've been following this, and this is why it's not a surprise to all of us. Because we're looking at reality, and everyone else is looking at the government, the central bank, and their lip service. That's where you have the difference. And all those people who are still believing the government lip service, the central bank, are going to be in trouble when this system comes down. All those people who do not believe will believe. And they'll be running around trying to figure out what just happened. Now, I don't wish anything bad on these people. I wish this wasn't happening at all. I wish that everything was fine. I can go about my business, live with my family, not worry about this. I wish I didn't have to prep. But there's reality, and there's the government and the central bank, which tells us lies. Now listen, it's all up to you what you want to choose. It's all up to you what you want to research. It's all up to you what you want to do. Nobody can force you to do anything. That's the beauty of freedom, is choice. And by the way, this is what the government is trying to take away. But you can make that decision on what you want to do. And the best way to do this is look at all the information, not just what I'm saying. Do the research on your own. Check it out. Question the numbers. Question everything I say. Question everything the government says. Compare the two. See who's lying. See who's telling the truth. Why doesn't it make sense when the government says something? Why does it make sense when the alternative media says something? Look at everything. But one thing I can tell you right now is that time is running out. And I know there's many people, and I've talked to many family members, to many friends, who just don't want to listen. And I understand it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing to tell them that their way of life is going to end. Listen, I was scared when I first heard. This wasn't easy to swallow. This wasn't easy when I started figuring things out, looking into the information. But when you find out, and you understand, and you dive into it, and you find out even more, and you look at the documentation, you look at how they calculated the information, you look at what they're doing around the world, you start to realize, yeah, this country is not heading in the right direction. I mean, listen, we go back to 2008, right before the stock market crashed, and we went into the Great Recession. Back then, they told us, everything is fine, it's all contained. People were saying, see, it's contained, it's fine. They're not forecasting a recession. There's no recession, there's no depression, the stock market's not going to crash, the housing market's not going to crash. You people who are thinking that this is going to happen, you're crazy. But guess what? The crazy people were right once again. So who's crazy? The people who are forecasting this correctly, or the people who are telling the lies? And the people who are saying, listen to the lies. Think about it. And we can see now that countries like Russia and China, they're removing the dollar, and they're going to be trading in their own currencies. And they're going to basically take this to the next level. Right now, they're going to remove the dollar completely. And this is going to push their trade between China and Russia up to $100 billion once they use their own currency. And Russia and China are saying, you know something? It's time to do this. Because the IMF already gave the green light. The world knows the yuan renminbi is going to be the next reserve currency included in the SDR basket. And they're using this to say there's no reason to use the dollar at this point. So we can see already, by doing this, that means there are less dollars being used out in the world. Less dollars being used, more of it floats back to the United States, where we see the devaluation of the dollar. And this is the biggest worry of the central bank, when countries stop using the dollar. And this is why they're nervous, afraid. This is why they're controlling the people. This is why they want to take your rights away. This is why you see trolls on the internet. Because if they're not worried, they wouldn't be doing any of this. They wouldn't be pushing all these false flags to get the guns away from the people, to scare people into going to war. All of this would not be necessary. The economy right now is collapsing. And it will collapse. That's a fact. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.